What's going on, guys? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about digital marketing for the beginner. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Scott King. I run a DJ company over here in Orlando, Florida, www.djsorlando.com. And I also have a coaching business websites right here, www.coachscottking.com, where I'm able to teach the practices that I learned from NLP, hypnosis, internet marketers, and much more. So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about digital marketing and all the different things that are needed, and it can be confusing if you've never been introduced to it, or maybe you want to start taking on some of the responsibilities by yourself, or maybe hiring somebody to help you get moving along, depending on where you are with your business. So I made a little bit of a slideshow for you over here, and let's see if we can crack into some of these struggles that anybody could be dealing with. So basically, let's go to the next slide here, if I can. Boom. Look at this guy. He's like, oh man, what's going on over here? So I'll put my head over here. So digital overwhelm, right? Like digital marketing. So digital marketing overwhelm, right? All these different tools that it takes to make something happen, email, campaign marketing, social posting, being able to follow up with leads, closing leads, contracting, all these different things, right? It could cost you, over $200 a month in all these different services in order to make something happen. I know personally, I had signed up with DocuSign just because I didn't know how to do, contracting, and whatever program or whatever I signed up for was like $3,000 for the year. And I was like, man, that's insane. But yet, if I can't make something easy for a client to sign, then I'm kind of dead in the water. So I ended up paying for it, and I paid for it for like 2 years until I was finding something else that made more sense. And that's just one of the many things, right? And then once again, if you have all these different, subscriptions and software, do they all talk to each other? If you're getting a bunch of views and it could be in another program that's analyzing your analytics, and it's like, well, how does all this make sense? How can you centralize all these different things that are happening? And then, anybody out there who hasn't started yet, they're probably like, I don't know where to start. All this is confusing. Like, what do I do? Or maybe you tried a few things and it was like, well, I didn't get anything with that, so this just doesn't work. There's so many different things that be going on. Or other people out there probably, not super technical when they get in front of a computer and they're like, oh man, I don't want to do all this stuff. Especially, people that are from the older school, and they've been doing things a certain way and not realizing that 2020 flipped everything upside down, because, everything became super digital at that point. And then things like Zoom meetings, it became a thing versus people going to, offices and stuff. Where as a DJ company over here in Orlando, there used to be a bunch of offices of different entertainment companies. And now there's basically all virtual meetings, or maybe people have warehouses and not people are really meeting at an office. That, if anything, they'll meet on show site and then be able to talk about all the different things they can do. So basically the game has really changed, and not being able to keep up in the digital world, you will get left behind, because that's just where even the younger generation is going, especially with weddings, right? They're all, in their 20s, and what are they using to book their clients? So being able to keep up in the digital world, and most people want to do things with their phone nowadays, even video editing and stuff, which I'm still keeping to my desktop for video editing. But anyway, so I use Go High Level, and, I'll move my head over here. Boom. So I use Go High Level, and for everything that it's worth and what it's done for me just in the last month, because I really dived in, $97, and it gets rid of, I don't know how many different tools that I have, and it just basically had paid for itself. So if I was just to break down some simple analytics, MailChimp by itself is over $100 a month, and that's sending emails to about 4,000 of my leads or something like that. Also, which is included in Go High Level, is like a link tree, and that's like $7 a month. If you time that out throughout the year, somewhere around $120 or something like that. And then there's other services that it offers you, like an AI chatbot. I haven't even looked up what other services charge to do something like that. Now, just keep in mind, all these different services that Go High Level can do, it's all centralized into one place. And you even get an app where on your phone, if people are talking to you, via chatbot, or if you registered a phone number with A2P, you're instantly talking through the app, and you have it all centralized in one place, and it's all integrated and all talks to each other. And then you can move people through pipelines depending on where they are in the purchasing process, right? So that's pretty important to keep in mind, because you could get one software per each one of these disciplines. And is it beneficial depending on, your business model as well? Me personally, I want to be able to scale and have it run on automation so I can go off and make videos quite like this to help other people out who may have been stuck along the way. And what are the things that you actually need, right? Oh, I didn't even talk about websites, right? Go High Level will also store media. So if you're building a website, you can store it on a Google Drive that's linked to Go High Level, and then it'll host your website through that, which is kind of exciting as well. And then you can also, integrate your email service, whether it's leads or marketing, and I'll have that all centralized at the same time as well. And a booking system, which is the pipelines part, which I'm still using a different software at the moment for contracting, because it's really good with event details, which I'm sure Go High Level can do that too. I just haven't figured that part out yet. And then of course it'll connect your analytics, and analytics are kind of important. So if, let's say you made a social post, and you wanted to find out basically which social post got you the most interaction, and then of course you'd want to make more social posts kind of like that in order to get similar type results. So keep that in mind as well. And then of course, email marketing with, either sales or lead gen, or with clients that are already, booked with your service. And you can create different workflows depending on where people are on the pipeline. So if I went ahead and shared my screen over here, it does social posts for you, and you can see that I already have a few posts that are, set to go out, and it will do it for all these different things or social media platforms that I've already linked up through the system, which is kind of exciting. So I can just make one post and it goes out to all of my social media accounts: YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. You can, I guess, connect your LinkedIn. I haven't done that. But yeah, I have the whole month already set to go, and it pretty much just runs on automation. So if you were looking to, schedule your time and make the most use out of your time, you could take like a Sunday or a Monday or something like that and just spend an hour or so. And I have another video about, how to do a video post within, 12 minutes and make that super quick and efficient. And then you can constantly keep pushing out content, because it's all about, how much can you get out, and when is it, most beneficial. So if you're doing like one post a day, you'd want to do 3 to 5 times, a week. If you could do 7, great. If not, whatever. And it all depends on what your market is and what your audience is looking for. And remember, it takes 12 to 17, hit points for someone to want to book with you and be comfortable with your service, and that you're an active company and all those wonderful things. So that's just one, benefit of having Go High Level. And if you guys are finding this information beneficial, make sure to give me a thumbs up. And I also have an affiliate link, so if you click on that, it helps me out a lot as well. So working on getting my numbers up. And if you have any questions along the way about Go High Level or how to set it up, or if you have any troubles with it, you can leave me a comment down below as well. It's been super beneficial for me. And I also have a workflow somewhere on the YouTube channel that explains, how I went through and did everything. And it's working for me at the moment. Yeah, I did. So the last month or so, I probably booked like 5 contracts through Go High Level, and I do about 15 to 20 a month regularly. And we're actually in slow season right now. So just keep that in mind as well. Again, workflows, right? Someone fills out one of your forms on your website, then you can have them set up to go through all these different emails and automations and text, and it just works while you sleep, which is marvelous, because you wouldn't want to follow up with all these people manually. And then I have all these different triggers to put them into this workflow, and this is what I call wedding email marketing. And basically the way I look at it is that I want to constantly be in somebody's inbox. So I'm not pushing in any specific offer. I just want you to see the services that we have, and that top of mind, who's following up with you the most. Those are probably the ones they're going to book with, or who can get back to them the fastest, right? If someone puts their information into your website, how fast can you call them back, type thing. And the people that get the call out first are usually the ones that they book with, and you want to make sure that, either you can do it or pay an assistant to answer the phone. And, most response times you want to be within 5 to 7 minutes. Not that you can do that all the time, yet that would be a goal to shoot for. Fast responders, right? Up next, again, like I was saying before, it can host all your media. And if you have it all centralized, right, like think about it like this, like if I'm, taking this media, posting it to the Google Drive that's connected through Go High Level, then I can then take that later and then add it to a social post because it's already stored in the drive, right? So that just makes things even more efficient. So I think I have one more page for you over here. Yeah, email, graphic emails. Like if you want to make your emails stand out, I also have another whole video that explains how I was able to create, graphic looking emails. And then once you have a template, like the first one probably takes like the longest to make sure it looks, pretty and stuff. And then once you have that, it's all about having, the content here in the middle of what you're explaining, and then just switching out maybe this picture or maybe switching out this video, and that's just a link or two. And then once again you go back to the workflow, which is over here, and then they just get similar emails with different content in it, but it keeps your branding, right? So if you're constantly sending them something that looks similar but not quite the same with the same content, like sending them the same email over and over again, it probably wouldn't be the best way to go about it. And if you had different content to check out, and who knows, they probably missed that last video, didn't see that video, or maybe the 5th email in, they're like, oh, I really like this video. Let me go back through all my, emails and find the other stuff that he sent me, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. Also, Go High Level, right? Like all the different things that are going on. WordPress, you got to have your website up so people can find you. MailChimp, that's for email marketing, right? And then I had Calendly, which I just ended up canceling because I didn't need it. Hootsuite. I didn't really have Hootsuite, and I know that's a really expensive service. I actually had Vista Social, which I bought some sort of a lifetime deal. I'm no longer using it, but I still have the lifetime deal if I ever want to switch back to it. Vista Social, I'm not quite sure what they charge per month, but it's somewhere in the $30, a month, range, right? And then CRM systems, which is a full CRM for you, and you can set up workflows depending on how your business works. Like me, I'm a DJ company. I can set up workflows that say custom fields, right? Your wedding date is this date, and then have emails that go out 60 days before, 90 days before, just to keep in touch with everybody, like, yes, we're still here, that kind of thing. Because when people book DJs, they're booking them 12 to 15 months out for a wedding, and then you want to make sure to keep in touch with them because they may see you here and then forget it. Well, they want to make sure they're still taken care of as you get closer to their wedding date, that kind of thing. And you can set that up to do that as well. And also, so lead capture, you have an opt-in form on your website, it automatically puts them into a workflow if you set up the triggers. And then CRM, email campaigns, it'll do all that. Website, booking system, analytics, people opening your stuff, or your social post did great here, keep that going. Or this social post wasn't that great, maybe you want to, switch it up or something like that. So without the data and the analytics, you won't be able to change, right? So get yourself out there. So here's a plan, right? Number one, I don't know where you're at, but most likely you're going to want to, set up a website. And getting up a website is pretty fast. They have templates in there, and you just switch out your images, and then you're up and running. And then of course a website is, I don't know, depending on the domain, $7.99, $9.99, something like that. And then once you get a website up, you can then create emails, with the same type of branding. And all these different services out there like Canva or whatever can make it pretty easy to create something that looks similar, or continuity, right? It doesn't have to be that complicated. I mean, depending on what your service is, if you're a graphic designer, you probably want to have pretty good graphics. But if you're a barber shop, or I don't know, there was a landscaper that we were working with, how great graphics do they have to be, just basically just showing, hey, look, this is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like now, something you're interested in. keep that in mind. I mean, not every service needs to have the greatest graphics on the planet. You just have to make sure that you put your service in front of somebody and that you're able to capitalize on when they're ready to book, that you have a system in order for them to sign a contract or book an appointment or book a consultation or get on the phone and call you. Is it accessible to them, and can they easily access it with their phone? That kind of thing. And then once you have all that set up, then you'd want to start worrying about, driving traffic to your website or your social media. Just be a little careful when it comes to social media. That I was explaining this to somebody yesterday. Like if I'm at an event, let's say I do a high school or something like that, and I tag the high school, and then we'll say 800 people just started following me, and I got thousands of views. Now, I don't know how many of those people are going to be throwing a party, in the next 6 months or 12 months, right? But I did get a bunch of views. And then on top of that, if a bunch of people like me on a social post, I didn't get their email address, right? How can I follow up with them? So they may not be the prime candidates for my service, which, views and stuff and getting the algorithm to like you is wonderful and all. Yet at the same time, it depends on what your goals are. And my goals are at least keep my team busy so that they stick around, because if you can't generate money, then you can't keep your team around, and then you can't grow. So just keep that in mind as well. So that's basically all I have for this video right here. And, hold on. I just put my face over that, girl. All right. So again, I have a Go High Level affiliate link. Make sure to click on that. Check out all the different things that it has to offer for you. Gives you 2 weeks for free. And then, instead of learning all these different tools and all these different things, right, you could save hundreds of dollars every single month. And who wants to make marketing complicated, right? It's more like, I do this one specific, trade or whatever it is, right? I don't want to worry about, finding people to give me money to do it. And if you need help with that, or coaching, or how to do one-on-one sales, I have classes on the website as well. So make sure to browse through and check those out. And not a lot of people understand the power of hypnotic language or NLP techniques or sales techniques. It doesn't have to be cheesy like a used car salesman or something like that. You can make it feel natural, and then just ask the proper questions and guide somebody along the way to what makes a win-win situation. So just keep that in mind. And then, of course, you want to save hours. If you're bouncing through 20 different windows, trying to make sure everything works, don't you just want something that's more automated and streamlined and, talks to each other? So just keep that in mind. And then, if your systems are connected, they can talk to each other, and then just make things that, make your best decision. Your next best decision will be easier to make if everything is on the same page. So I think that's the last slide. So guys, once again, thanks for checking out the video. Websites here. I'll leave some links in the description. And if you have more questions about Go High Level, which I'm still in the middle of, getting certified. I'm about 50% through those videos at the moment, and there's just a lot to cover. And I can't believe how much success I've been able to get, and still have so much more to learn. like I feel like I just learned like the tip of the iceberg, and I'm still getting a lot of success, and you can too, and you can get up and running faster than you think. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe.